This podcast is a part of the Benview Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at BenviewNetwork.com.
This podcast often contains controversial or mature topics. You have been warned. Welcome back to a winter wonderland, but not here on Earth, on a different planet. And instead of Santa Claus, it's...
Sandy worm.
Who? Like ice sandworms?
Sneaks into who comes at daytime through your floor hole.
Because everyone has a floor hole, by the way.
And takes your rug.
I like sandworms, actually, but like in a tundra.
On an alien planet, there's probably floor holes. Maybe that's where people hunt at night for food, because they can't go up in the daytime.
You're just describing Eskimos. But I guess they're space Eskimos, or Inuit,
well, that would make sense. If you live in an inhospitable, quote-unquote, winter wonderland...
How does Wonderland translate to inhospitable?
Okay, maybe it's perfectly hospitable, and everyone just has floor holes to poop. Or to...
That's, you know what, never mind. I'm going to stop comparing this to real-world examples, because you're ruining the illusion.
So there's two versions of Sandy Worm now.
Oh, are there?
Yeah, no, there's the version where he's inverse Santa Claus and comes down your inverted chimney.
No, please say comes up your hole, because I know that's what you're trying to say.
And then there's the other version that comes up your toilet hole.
Well, now you're just that bad, crap.
Okay, no,
Stephen King movie.
No. We have stuff to do here. We're getting off topic, and I feel like I'm making a fool of myself.
Well, then we're doing everything right. So we just got one story today for episode 10, because it's still the holidays and stuff is still super busy, but we're trying to get at least something out for you guys. So thank you for tuning in.
Okay. More excuses that Abysmii doesn't regret making at all.
No, I don't, because they're very valid. Any more sass to pile on? Any salt you want to serve me? See, I'm Vim and Ver, and you're Salt and Sass.
I don't know what Vim and Ver are.
I explained it once on a walk to the local subway, and you didn't.
Are you regaling our audience of the story of the epic tale to the journey?
I never said it was epic. It's the subway where you find the sandy worms.
What are Vim and Ver?
Vim and Ver is a...
like salt and pepper?
No, it's a Latin phrase, being full of
sure. Well, we all know that.
Life and energy. Anyway, this story is called We Can't Go Back into Space Until Logan Masterson Dies. And it is from Lord Bronte, whom we have read before. I didn't realize this until I picked it out, but this won the 2016 Halloween contest on the short stories subreddit.
Well, then it's going to be good and we can't make fun of it.
Well, I hope it is, because we recently had a discussion with some friends about melding sci-fi and horror and how rare it is to do it well. I'm glad I'm boring you.
Yeah, very. No, yes, horror is super interesting. And then there goes our audience.
It goes half of our audience. You just did to our channel what YouTube's been trying. I'm not.
Okay, we can't go back into space until Logan Masterson dies. So is Logan Masterson the one who's keeping us from going to the moon?
Probably. That asshole.
That might be what the story's about. I would say is Horror on the Moon, but that was a movie that was done a couple years ago.
It wasn't good.
I don't remember it. I assume it was bad.
It was.
Anyways, that's pretty much the long and short of it. Personally, I think that this whole thing will be the end of manned spaceflight. It was already dying, and now this? Talk about a PR nightmare. Oh, are we talking about The Martian?
Maybe?
I feel like this was probably inspired by The Martian.
It was 2016, so maybe. Plus, morally, the murders were pretty bad, too.
Unsurprisingly, it began with lust. Masterson was aboard the ISS with Mizuki Katayama, a brilliant Japanese mission specialist. He loved her, or more accurately, he wanted her, and she politely turned him down.
The same scenario happens on Earth every day. The only thing remarkable about this murder was its location.
If you admit to watching the broadcast, then you know how he killed her and what he did to her afterwards. But I'd rather not get into that.
So he murdered her on one of those live streams, I'm guessing, that you can see from the ISS. That's pretty brutal.
That sounds about right.
After killing Katayama, Masterson was alone on the ISS with Anton Vitali. Saying the cosmonaut was in the wrong place at the wrong time would be an understatement. Masterson made short work of Vitali as well.
Whoa.
Are these real people?
Like,
These names sound real, or they're just very cleverly chosen.
I don't know if they're real. If they are, that's somewhat disrespectful.
Why?
Because maybe the real Masterson's not a dickbag who murders people.
People do theories about historical events all the time.
Okay, not my point.
Fanfic.
What I was gonna say is, why do you, like, I guess in my mind, why do you murder everybody? Because to leave no witnesses, right? Except for that this guy made the murder, knew he was being watched, and then decided, you know what, Anton Vitali, you suck.
Or maybe he just went crazy and started killing everyone around him. Or maybe he panicked. There are innumerable ways people go about killing. And
oh, right, we're dealing with a dumb male. Okay, let's continue.
All right. Don't have to go into forensic psychology or anything. But again, I'd rather not go into details.
You have to remember that at this point, nobody on Earth was clued in. All we saw was that cameras on the station had stopped transmitting, and that personnel weren't responding. But we all know what happened.
The cameras on the station had stopped transmitting, and that personnel weren't responding.
I guess that happened afterwards.
I guess, yeah. So he killed everybody and turned off all the cameras. We don't know how many people
Or
were on the
somebody.
ISS.
Or somebody. Well, at any one time, there's probably like 6 people. You could actually look it up right now and find out if you were interested.
Maybe we will after the fact, because this is a short story. It's during this period when Masterson must have fully embraced his psychosis. Ha! Told you. He blacked out the station's windows. He diligently severed all outside controls. Then he waited.
These first days and weeks were panicky for NASA, JAXA, and Roscosmos. Roscosmos.
There we go.
Eventually, a mission was set up to investigate the ISS. The next 3 astronauts and cosmonauts in the queue for residence were sent up with tools and supplies.
And I hope weapons, because...
What? Oh, they just sent him up anyway?
Maybe...
Oh, okay.
Maybe he killed...
investigate. I'm listening.
Well, maybe he killed them, but they didn't know he killed them at the time. Like, it wasn't transmitted.
But...
Maybe the transmissions...
Then what was this? We all saw the transmission.
Maybe that was released afterwards. I don't know. It's weird that they're going up with tools to investigate.
When there's a murder like this, they don't just release that stuff.
Well, then why would they send them up with just tools to investigate? What does that mean? That seems very nonchalant.
That seems like very natural response, because the ISS is like a multi-million-dollar multinational.
That doesn't answer my question. Why are they not being sent up with weapons if they know he's killing people?
Maybe tools is a code word for machine guns.
The choice of words just makes it sound a bit whatever. We'll keep reading.
And supplies is a code word for flamethrowers.
He got the supplies. Masterson, of course, knew they were coming. He listened to Earth communications and still had access to the external cameras. It was a relatively simple matter to sabotage the airlock and depressurize one of the station's segments.
From what little we know, it's assumed that all 3 died instantly. Or maybe that's just wishful thinking.
It was at this point that the broadcast began. Okay. So he stopped them. Everything went black. They didn't know what was happening. He sent people up, and then he started broadcasting. Okay.
Attempts to stop his outgoing messages were pathetically ineffective. All Masterson had to do was slap an old-fashioned broadcast antenna on ISS, and presto! The whole world was his audience.
Nobody is supposed to watch, but I'd bet that everybody has at least once. The broadcasts were sickening and fascinating at the same time. A psychotic murderer completely out of reach of civilization, with a broadcast antenna.
Most were horrified. Countries banned viewing the broadcasts, but some segments of the internet loved it.
That's very true. That shit would be on 4chan forever.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone pretends they don't watch, but all of Masterson's performances are easily accessible online.
Months passed and people began to wonder how he was still alive. Then someone pointed out that Masterson has a water recycler and about 5 corpses worth of meat.
Oh, shit.
And he has the Martian, so he knows what to do.
Still, he can't last forever, so we're waiting him out. A few politicians and world leaders have threatened to launch missiles at the ISS, but that's just bluster.
Whoa. Okay, so just go to sleep. Don't even think about the fact that there's a psychotic killer out there passing overhead every 92 minutes. That's a... Damn.
This story works for very strange reasons for me, because it's not giving me chills, but it is, but it isn't. Because it's not like we have anything to fear. It's just the idea of that out there is frightening the way it was written. I don't know how to explain it, but it's matter of fact without being boring. And it gives enough details to keep you interested and keep us questioning, wait, did he send a broadcast first? Was it live? So I can see why this won, especially for flash fiction. That was really well put together.
What is that supposed to be, under 500 words or something?
Or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
Dang.
small. But and the way the lines were timed of, he's got a water recycler and 5 corpses worth of meat. Oh shit, right, cannibalism. Like, you don't know how far his psychosis goes.
Yeah.
I like that. Not very horrifying. More, I don't know. There's got to be a word for stuff that isn't horrifying, but is kind of sickening, shocking, I guess. Much more shocking than horrifying. Which isn't to say it's bad or anything.
There's a whole there's a word for it. There's a whole string of movies that are like that are just like suspenseful brain fart. I know there's a word for it, but yeah, no, this falls in that category. I think this is a wonderful little story.
It is. I liked it a lot. Let's look at some comments. This is an amazing story, said OddFuture445. Seriously, one of the best stories I've ever read on here. It leaves so much to the imagination while painting a portrait of this psychotic man who virtually is untouchable from the entire world. I wish this was developed into a short film. Yeah, this would have been a lot better than Gravity or anything.
No, dude, a full-length movie of this? No.
Short film.
I know, short film, but like not a whole movie.
No, I think it should be a short film.
When you say a short film, you mean like a 90-minute film or like an hour film?
A 90-minute film is a full-length featured film.
Okay, good.
What do you think short film meant?
I guess a 10-minute film then.
Yeah, 10, 20, I'd be good with either of that. Let's see. It's all easily accessible on the internet. Don't pretend that you haven't watched the broadcasts. I want to listen to those broadcasts. Oh, I think people are kind of playing along with the mythos here.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, this was so well written, says Herky Young Clay. I'm not going to pretend to pronounce that. And so within the realm of the imagination that I actually went and Googled if there was an astronaut named Logan Masterson. Thankfully, there isn't. Okay. So, you know what? Props to those name choices. Like, they did really sound like astronaut names.
Yeah, it did. Like the lady's name did, for sure.
Vitali sounded right.
Mm-hmm. That being said, like, astronauts spend years training for a mission, and they look for very particular personalities.
Yeah.
For people that stay cool under pressure, and like anybody who ever has, anger fits or episodes like that are less likely to. I don't think they'd make it this far.
Yeah.
So he'd have to like pretty much hide the fact that he's nuts.
Which people
or
can
crack.
do, but
like straight up crack.
Yeah, it's not very common, and for that same reason. The third act of Sunshine falls so damn hard.
Yeah.
Because you have all these people who, granted they're on spaceflight, it's more extreme than anything we've planned or done so far.
Well, Sunshine is a different case because it's also like a last-ditch humanity effort.
Yeah,
so
like you're going to die.
They're making mistakes to get there in a hurry, too.
True, but at the same time, like, astronauts must always go up with, like, this knowledge pounded into them that, like, you could die at any point. These accidents happen in the blink of an eye. So the fact that at the end of Sunshine, you have a guy who goes god crazy and starts killing people, and it's a slasher flick, was just, it was so weak of an ending, and it just did not jive with the rest of the movie. But at the same time, I think it was the mathematician kind of like fucking up an equation and screwed everything up, and he like felt super, super bad about it and tried to kill himself. I can more believe that, because
Wait, what was that in?
In Sunshine.
Oh.
When a guy messes up the calculations and he's like, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
And then he like cries and he almost kills himself, or he tries to. So that's a bit more believable. But someone just going psychotic and killing people, especially because a woman turned down his advances. But at the same time, how else would you set up this story? I
have to wonder how many astronauts aren't married, because it seems like a lot of them are, too.
That's a good question. We may have to do some astronaut research. But I do want to look up how many people are on the ISS. Astro Search.
How many people are on the ISS right now? 6.
Oh, you were right. It was 6.
And I think they're all on the ISS.
Peggy Whitson, Oleg Novitsky, Thomas Pesquet.
Why are we reading them? Anyone can look this up.
Andrei Borisenko, Sergei Rizikov, Shane Kimbrough. Sorry, I wanted to read that because I really like how Lord Bronte did the names. They sounded very convincing. 33 days, 33 days.
Okay, so there's one divorced guy. Watch out. The people on the ISS.
For all astronauts currently listening, look out. Find the divorced among you and quarantine them. No, he's the French. Of course.
No comment.
Well, that is all the time we have. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. We will return to the longer form episodes.
Oh, dude, this guy's a badass.
In the new year.
Pictures of him deep sea diving, and
well, that's not surprising.
he has an outdoor adventure. Oh, goddamn.
Yeah, he's doing the biggest outdoor adventure you can do.
Yeah,
You're outdoors of the atmosphere.
Dang, not my dream job at all. I think I found a new spirit human. Excuse me, everyone. I'm gonna go take care of this.
I found a new spirit human. Did you mash up spirit animal and kindred spirit with human somehow? You are my spirit human. What does that mean? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We will see you in the new year.
Thanks, everyone. Fun times were had.
Spirit human. Stay tuned for these messages with your likely new spirit humans.
Feeling peckish this midnight? Sate your appetite for terror and reserve your ears for a feast of the sound. The Midnight Marinera podcast is here for you, intrepid listeners. We sample only the finest in sinister stories and, coating them with our own unique spooky sauce, present them to you as eerie audio dramas. Tune in twice monthly as Midnight Marinera sends shivers of fear and spasms of laughter through you. Bon appetit!